So, guys, I want to talk about AEW World's End, and I really want to say that one match that really should happen is Marina Shaffer versus Willow Nightingale. And there's actually a lot of people who want to see this, and I'm a little worried because they may never ever have a match together, and then also they may do something like wait on a match, or they will do something like maybe have a match between them on television. But I really think that having a match between them on the AEW World's End card is actually a really great idea for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is that honestly, a lot of people are complaining that there's not really great women's matches or storylines. This is a very simplistic storyline that Willow Nightingale is defending Orange Cassidy because obviously of that role of men can't hit women. So if Marina Shaffer is hitting the guys, is beating up on the guys, if Marina Shaffer is beating up the guys, um, it's bad if a guy beats on her, really, because of gender roles nowadays. So she's kind of filling in that role of, what, I'm gonna match you, because we're both women and stuff like that. That's just how it is. But the thing about it is also, it's a simple story. Like they both are fighting for their teams. The next thing about it is, Marina Shaffer was on Ring of Honor and she did some really great stuff, really. So you need to feature a Ring of Honor wrestler strongly. Kind of show everybody that if you are a person in Ring of Honor and you start there, or you are hired through Tony Khan acquiring Ring of Honor, it makes a lot of sense to have wrestlers that actually go somewhere on the AEW main roster, really. You know, and then also too, Marina Shaffer has a lot of muscles on her body. She kind of has like that China type of thing where, she's kind of like, the cold stare, executioner's gaze, powerhouse type of wrestler. So I really think that she has to really do her work, put in her work, really. And I think with her and Willow, you can have a really, really great match with that. It will help Marina Shaffer so much, really. And I actually think that you do more by giving Marina Shaffer a victory in this as well, really. And it just leads to great things. So, you automatically you're building a new star, Marina Shaffer. You're taking somebody from Ring of Honor, and you're saying something like, you're saying to your crowd, if you are in Ring of Honor, you're either there in a developmental way, you've wrestled on a couple of pay-per-views, or you got hired and you've wrestled on a couple of pay-per-views. Now you can end up on the main roster and you're in the main storyline, and then you're also on having a pay-per-view match. So that all works together. And then the other thing too is that it shows that, there are more feuds outside of Mercedes Moné being arrogant and Tony Storm and Mariah May having identity issues, so it does good. And then also, the storyline between them is they're representing their groups, really. So, they're fighting for the good of their groups. So, that's a different storyline. And maybe what could happen is that you can kind of say, okay, well, this is getting some attention. This is getting some energy. So maybe, what, you can put the women's title on, Marina Shaffer and have she and Will Nightingale feud over it, because you cannot keep going back to Mercedes Moné and timeless Tony Storm. You have to find other things that work as well, really, because again, it becomes extremely repetitive. So I really think that there is a gold nugget within them wrestling. And I really, really hope that they have a match. I think they'll do a lot of great things. And even if you did something where they have a false count anywhere match, they wrestle throughout the arena and they just really tear it up like two badass bitches, I think that'll be really awesome. I think that's what they need to do. Or they have a match and they bust each other's noses and you see a bunch of blood and other kind of things. Like they take it a little too far. Or they fight and then they have a DQ because they're just a little out of control, really. And then they kind of like cause some carnage and they kind of like give the audience a little bit of a taste of what the main event's going to be with the Fatal 4-Way. It does a lot of good for them to have a match, and it's the right choice for AEW. It's the right choice for them to have a match. It really will elevate a lot of things, really. So I really think that this is, a big gem, and I really would love to see them have a match on the AEW World's End card. It does nothing but a lot of good things and a lot of great execution. And then the other thing that you can do is before their match, you can have Willow Nightingale talk some shit on the microphone in a backstage segment. You have Marina Shafir retaliate with some shit. They both talk to each other. So then you're also doing something like you give Marina Shafir some. sorry, sorry guys, I have a bit of a cold. So you have Marina Shafir talk some shit. You have Willow Nightingale talk some shit. And then you kind of give them some practice, really. And then you kind of lead to something. And I really think, as I said, that this year, I really think that Willow Nightingale needs to be the women's AEW championship. She's putting in way too much work. Or you do what you also do. What I think you should do is that you could have them fight over the ROH Women's Championship, because Athena is getting a little too old with that. But like I've said before, and I'll say it again, really, it does nothing but good. It gives you something different. And also, if you go into 2025, we need different feuds, we need different angles. And if you have like the women in these group actually fight, actually kick ass and take names, I really, really think that does nothing but good, because you're putting different attention, you're giving a different angle and different dynamic, really. See what they can do. Have them improvise on the microphone, have them have a fight, see what they can do. Throw in some ideas of just them taking a little too far, and then you go from there, really. It does nothing but good to have them both fight, and I really hope that's what they do.